Hi everybody. So I told you we would think about some different ways to color in our backgrounds for our owls. So I'm going to show you a few different choices today. And if you've already decided to go ahead and color in your owl background, maybe you could try a different owl drawing and try one of these options so that you have a couple of different cool pictures. So this is the one we looked at yesterday, and this was the finished one. And I told you that if you would like to do this kind of background, maybe bring a couple of leaves with you to art. So I'm going to show you that first. I'm going to lay this one aside for a minute. And here is a blank one we're going to try that out on. And this is a little bit different than the one we drew yesterday. I decided to try another background on that kind, which I'll show you in a minute. So I have just a couple of leaves that I got out of my yard. And so what I notice about the leaves is I can feel the veins of the leaves, and I can feel them a little bit better on the back of the leaf. So that's what I'm going to use. And the same thing for these little ones. And so I'm going to start out with this big leaf. And you're going to need crayons for this. This will not work with markers. And so you need something like crayons for this. So I'm going to put the leaf under my picture. And we are going to just choose a crayon. I used green and blue in the one that I did, but you can get creative. You can use different colors. So it's going to make your paper kind of bumpy. And so I'm going to hold my crayon down sort of like this, kind of flat. If you have some old crayons that don't have paper, they work really well if you turn them on the sides. But I'm just coloring over top of my leaf. And you can see the leaf appearing. This is called doing a rubbing, kind of a texture rubbing. And so you can see how that looks kind of cool in the background. I can move the leaf around and maybe do some different colors. Let's try maybe a blue on top of there. And so I'm just coloring on top, and I can let it overlap. I can let my colors kind of run together a little bit. That might look kind of interesting. And so I am just going to keep moving my leaf around to add some of that texture. And I want to be careful I'm not scribbling on top of my owls. I got a little bit on his head, but that's okay. I didn't get a chance to color my owls in yet anyway, so maybe I can cover that up. So you can see how that's turning out. Let's try a different leaf really quick. I'm not going to finish this whole background right now, just because I don't want to take up all of your work time. Let's go for our blue again. And there's my small leaf that's showing. And I don't have to cover the whole thing with leaves. I can just color some areas in plain with the crayons if I want. But this is kind of fun. You might even, if you have fun doing this, if you haven't tried this before, you might even want to just fill a whole empty paper with cool leaf rubbings with different colors. That's kind of fun. So I would finish my whole drawing maybe with those leaves. Maybe I just want to put a couple and then color in normally. Lots of different ideas for that. So I'm going to move my leaves out of the way and show you a different idea for a background. So we have been thinking about lots of different lines and designs and patterns for our owls. And so this one is kind of a crazy picture. It has a pattern of different lines in the background. And you can see that I started with this curly line here. I did this one with markers, but it would also work with crayons. And let's see where I am on my pattern. I have my red line. And so it looks like I need to do my zigzag actually next. So I am going to do my zigzag line. And when I get to my drawing, I stop and skip it. So I'm going to finish up my zigzag. What comes after the zigzag? It looks like it's this green broken line. Or some people call that a dashed line or a dotted line. And I got to my owl, so I have to skip him. And then my purple curly line comes next. You might think of all kinds of different cool lines and designs you could add. And I'm just going to do one more line, and I'm not going to quite finish this one either. I'm almost finished, though. And my straight line, remember this is an up and down line, so it's a vertical line. So I would just finish up. I think it would maybe just take 2 more lines to finish that drawing. So that's another fun choice that you could have. The other choice that I thought, if some of you just want to color and you just want to do kind of a colored in background with different details that you like, I thought this one might be nice to just have a nighttime owl sleeping. You can see I haven't colored him in yet either, or the tree branch. I'll have to do that a little bit later. But I just started coloring with a black crayon. You could do a normal sky however you want. You could do a sunset sky. You could do a bright blue sky, whatever you want. You can see right here we're going to practice really neat coloring though. And I'm going to color a little bit along here so that I don't color on top of my owl. And when I'm coloring, sometimes I do turn my paper around to make it a little bit easier. But I'm just going to color really carefully and patiently and fill in my sky. You can see I'm doing under the branch too, because that part would actually be sky too, maybe, that we would see back there, unless we're looking at a lot of the ground, if we're seeing the ground through there too. And so I'm just going to keep on coloring. And I'm not going to finish this one because, again, I want you to have some time to work on your drawing. And so I would finish my whole dark background, and then this owl would show up really nice. And I still do need to color in my owl. Remember yesterday I traced all my lines and patterns, and I used marker for tracing, but you could trace them with crayon. And then to color in my owl, I would probably just color really nice and lightly over top of my patterns, but just so they don't get hidden. I want my patterns and designs to still show, so I could color in like that. I have a bunch of coloring work to do today, don't I, to get all of my drawings all the way finished. All right, I'm going to keep on coloring off camera so that you can have a chance to work on yours. I will see you soon.